I've been very careful when we've been talking about George W. Bush during the Donald Trump era not to participate in the rehabilitation of George W. Bush's image. And this is one of the dangers of not talking about former presidents, which we discussed a few weeks ago, which is they end up being allowed either implicitly or explicitly to sort of rewrite their own history and legacy as presidents of the United States. In George W. Bush's case, his legacy is not taking the 9/11 threat seriously enough to start with. More importantly, reacting to the 9/11 attacks by invading a country that didn't do it, the country of Iraq, declaring mission accomplished years early, staying in a total quagmire of a situation while hemorrhaging money and blowing up the deficit, all to get us nothing while committing war crimes. That's a bad legacy. And I haven't even mentioned the Bush administration's response to Hurricane Katrina, which is another complete and total fiasco. And yes, at the same time, as an individual compared to Donald Trump, Bush is less wacky. He's less obviously unhinged. He sounds more reasonable. He seems to relate to people just on an individual level in a more normal way than Donald Trump. But George W. Bush has partially rehabbed his image by becoming friends with Michelle Obama and by being friends with Ellen DeGeneres and painting portraits of veterans. And now he's sort of like a friendly, older past president who just wants everybody to get along. So the point is, I've been careful when we say, wow, even George W. Bush realizes that this thing Trump did or that thing Trump did is terrible, to understand the context of the horrible legacy of George W. Bush. Now, that gets us to this morning. This morning, George W. Bush appeared on the Today Show, and he actually laid out a pretty cogent case against the direction of the modern Republican Party since Bush left office through the Obama administration and during Donald Trump's one-term presidency. And he is completely correct. He arguably doesn't even go far enough. Let's listen, and then we'll talk about it.
I would describe it as isolationist, protectionist, and to a certain extent, nativist.
You disappointed?
Well, it's not exactly my vision, but you know what? I'm just an old guy they put out to pasture, so just a simple painter.
The simple painter.
So let's take this in pieces. I mean, first of all, is what George W. Bush is saying correct? It is correct. The Republican Party has gone, since Bush left, more fully to the, I don't even know that I'd call it isolationism and protectionism. I'd call it nationalism. And yes, nativism. And even nativism doesn't really go far enough. It's really more, it's almost like a xenophobia that's very popular in white nationalist circles. It goes beyond nativist. So Bush is right, and he probably doesn't go far enough. Now, it is true, or better said, is it true that this is not Bush's vision for the party, as he says, and that it wasn't Bush's vision when he was president? Well, yes, sort of, but the truth is more complicated. It's not the Republican Party has now gone nativist, xenophobe, and Bush wasn't at all that when he was president of the United States. The reality is that Bush's GOP was maybe more indifferent to the nativism, and they played coy with the nativism. And while they were less cartoonishly talking about it in the way Trump did, they allowed it, and they even had many people that were part of the administration that were very much of that mindset. Bush personally, is Bush personally a nativist xenophobe, like what he now criticizes about the Republican Party? Probably not. I don't really know, but it's sort of like, is Trump personally anti-Semitic? We talked before. Well, Trump has a Jewish daughter by conversion, Ivanka, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and Trump has Jewish grandkids and all this stuff. Doesn't really matter. Trump coalesced the anti-Semites, so his personal view isn't super relevant to me. Whatever George W. Bush's personal view of the nativist xenophobic wing of the Republican Party is, Bush's presidency certainly didn't call out that wing of the Republican Party, and it allowed that wing to grow into what it became during Obama and ultimately led to Donald Trump. So with all of these issues, it's more complicated than what Bush believes, and it's more nuanced than Bush wasn't at all on the isolationist nativist GOP side. It's more like Bush probably calculated that the Republican Party was going in that direction, even if it wasn't his thing. He found a way to placate that wing without being as cartoonishly welcoming of it as Donald Trump was. So what this gets us to is like, how should we react when George W. Bush criticizes Trump and now is criticizing the modern Republican Party? Is Bush a hero for calling it out, or is he a foe who's pretending not to have been a part of it? Neither. Life is more complicated. It's not always black and white. The reaction for me is Bush was a disaster, but even Bush realizes that the Republican Party since him and under Trump is an even bigger disaster, but he's also partially responsible for it. They all are, right? I mean, you know what, the right during the civil rights era, into the Vietnam era, into Reagan, into Gingrich, and then so on into Bush, right? I mean, it's all part of what got that party to what it is today. And you don't have to praise George W. Bush to realize that, but you can also recognize the role that he either implicitly or explicitly or by negligence had in getting the party to where it is today. That being said, I wonder how much of the modern Republican electorate, which is mostly behind Donald Trump, cares what George W. Bush says at this point in time. I don't know the answer to that. Remains to be seen. I'm really excited that one of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress at home. I absolutely love it. And that's why I reached out to them about sponsoring the David Pakman Show. Buying a mattress in the past was always a huge guessing game for me. I didn't know what I actually needed. I didn't know what I would like. But Helix has a sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and their tool matched me with a mattress that is perfect for me. It's cool enough at night. It's the right firmness. I generally just do way better sleeping these days because of the mattress. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress for the last 2 years by both GQ and Wired magazine. It is well-deserved, I can tell you firsthand. Every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. You can try the mattress risk-free for 100 nights, and they will even come pick it up at your house if you don't love it, but I know you will. All of my viewers will get up to $200 off your order, and you'll get 2 super premium pillows for free when you go to the link right underneath this video.